Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, channel that brings you your team every single day. Guys, we are here. It is match day. It is a crucial match day in the Europa League as Rangers take on Union Saint Gilloise at Ibrox. As I get my best French pronunciation for the Belgian team coming to Ibrox tonight, guys, and we will have a live watch along on the channel tonight. So please, obviously, come and join us for that. But it's not just Union Saint Gilloise we're going to talk about in this video this morning. We are also going to talk as well about the new appointment. Fascinating. Came out of left field, not one that I was expecting today, nothing that I was expecting today. The announcement of a new assistant manager at the club. Yes, we have a new assistant manager, and this is him stood with boss Philippe Clement. Who is this new assistant manager? What is his name? Where does he come from? What do we know about him? That's the big question, I think, on a lot of people's minds. Well, I'm about to absolutely slaughter the guy's name, so I do, of course, apologize to him and to you as well as I prepare. I'm actually going to put what I'm going to do. I'm also going to put his name on the screen. So if you think you can have a better go at pronouncing his name, please feel free. Well, his name is Issame Chairi. He is a Moroccan. Born in France, obviously, but to Moroccan parents, has come from the Moroccan under-23s who won the under-23s African Nations. Also was part of the successful Moroccan team from the Olympics as well. So he's got a very good track record internationally, has done a very good job with Morocco and the Moroccan national team. We'll find out a little bit more about him shortly. But like I said, this came completely out of left field. Now, the reason for his arrival at the club is quite simple, really. The former assistant manager, no, not Stefan van der Heyden, who many of you obviously will know. He is still obviously our assistant manager. But Andres Ulderink has departed for personal reasons. No word as to what those personal reasons are, just that he has ended his role as assistant first team manager to Philippe Clement. Ulderink, who joined Rangers in the summer, has returned to the Netherlands due to a family situation and said that he doesn't wish to return, and the Rangers have just asked for his privacy to be respected. So the appointment is that of Issame Chairi as assistant manager. Now, Chairi joins from League One side Strasbourg, having previously worked in the Belgian Pro League as an assistant manager and as a manager of Morocco's under-23 team, where he led them to the under-23 African Nations Cup. In terms of his track record of what he's done in his career, he was assistant manager Al Fasali, which I presume is a Moroccan team. He was then a caretaker manager of Al Fasali before he went to work in Belgium. During his time in Belgium, he worked for Beerschot, he worked for Saint-Truden, he worked for Leuven before going to Morocco under 23s, and most recently, obviously, working with Strasbourg in the French league. However, now he is in place as Rangers assistant manager. I must admit, I don't know a great deal about him. It's an interesting appointment, nonetheless. A Moroccan, obviously, will link up with Hamza Igaman. Is this a sign that that talk of that link with Rabat that was talked about earlier in the season is an actual goer, and bringing in a Moroccan assistant manager? Is this a nod to the progression of Moroccan football, how Moroccan football has developed? Or is this, basically just he was the best person for the job, and when people applied and we looked at who was around and he was the best person, perhaps he was also maybe the cheapest? I don't know. Perhaps I'm being horrible there to him and to the Rangers board, but it is the Rangers board after all. But is he the kind? I don't know. Obviously, I think the Moroccan football, and obviously he must have done something right within the 23s to get them to win a Nations Cup title, and obviously to get them to do well in the Olympics. You don't accidentally stumble upon that and accidentally make that happen. Now, Morocco, in terms of Moroccan football, it does really seem to be the up and coming area. This was the tweet that was put out by Rangers. So look, it's an exciting appointment. It's an interesting appointment. Is this also perhaps a bit of a dropped hint that there may be further Moroccan players arriving at the club as well? A bit of a nod to the future that we will be signing further. Now, we were obviously linked with Issame unfortunate first name. Tarjaline as well. He didn't arrive in the end. There was a Moroccan central defender we were also linked with. That didn't come off in the end. But, is this a sign that maybe we are going to look to bring in more Moroccan players and link up with Rabat and having an assistant manager from Morocco and having, who can speak the language, which is French, and also, understands Moroccan football, understands the culture, is something that's going to help this club to progress? I don't know. These are just kind of reasons I'm kind of looking for this appointment. There is, like I said, I don't know a great deal about the guy, other than he's had success with the Moroccan national team and that he's had, some success in the Belgian Pro League as well. So, he's not just obviously had that Moroccan experience, he's also had the European experience at management as well. So very interesting appointment. Obviously, we wish him all the best. Is this also, I think as well, going back to what Patrick Stewart said when he came into the club, he obviously launched that internal review, didn't he? Is this part of the internal review as well? Have they recommended that they needed another assistant manager, a better assistant manager? Maybe the whole thing around Uzalink is a little bit of, I don't know, sort of saving his blushes a little bit, and maybe it is a genuine family situation. Maybe I'm just kind of guessing at this. But, it's a very interesting appointment nonetheless, and it'd be interesting to see the impact that he can have on the team, the impact that Philippe Clement obviously lets him have on the team as well. At the end of the day, Clement is still the manager. He will obviously pick the team. He'll obviously have the most influence, unfortunately. But it'd be interesting to see what Chairi can do, what effect he has on the team. Moroccan teams, looking at the way Morocco play, it is a very exciting attacking style. So is that something we're going to see at Rangers? Hopefully moving forward. Right, let's move it along a little bit, shall we? And we'll talk about the upcoming game tonight against Union Saint Gilloise at Ibrox. 8 o'clock kickoff. Obviously, everything on the cards after last night, a very exciting night, obviously, of Champions League football where all teams played. Celtic lost 4-2 to Aston Villa. Unfortunately, they did progress to the next round, to the knockout phases. Always bad news, but Villa did beat them 4-2. They were 2-2 at one point, which actually shocked me. But for all accounts, Villa were unlucky not to win by 5 or 6. I do have a very funny story, actually, that my daughter goes to college in Birmingham. And she was going to Birmingham New Street Station to come home last night. And she passed a group of Celtic fans in the train station. And she turned to them and really loud went, "Boo, I hate Celtic." That's because I'm a Rangers fan and a Liverpool fan and I hate Celtic. And I thought that was hilarious. Well done, my daughter, for doing that one. She managed to survive as well. She got home safe and sound. We know what Celtic fans are like. Now we have got history with Union Saint Gilloise. You may remember back to the 2022 Champions League playoffs that led obviously then onto the PSV game, which we won and progressed to the Champions League group phase, which the less said about that, the better. But we won against Union Saint Gilloise at Ibrox. We lost to them in Belgium 2-0, but obviously came back and won 3-0 at Ibrox to go through to that next phase against PSV. Remembering back to that game, guys, here is that game in feature. The last time we met at Ibrox, a 3-0 goals from Tav, a penalty on 45, Antonio Cholak and Malik Tillman. And the sending off wasn't until the 94th minute. So they were 11v11 for the majority of that game. Two top players there that I think, that we really do miss. I mean, Antonio Cholak, top player, Tony goals, scored goals, better player than Dessers. I'd love to have kept Cholak. I think, in this team, he'd have been fantastic. I really do think he'd been fantastic. And Malik Tillman, that's always going to be a regret. Top player, absolute top player. I mean, yes, he's out injured at the moment, but he's been fantastic in the Netherlands for PSV Eindhoven, been absolutely brilliant for them. And I think he is a top player. The team that day, guys, that team that we played that day, John McLaughlin was in goal. I mean, there's always a black cloud, isn't there? Tav, Goldson, Sands. I mean, yeah, James Sands, Barisic, Tom Lawrence, John Lundstrom, Scott Arfield, Malik Tillman, Antonio Cholak, and Ryan Kent. How many of those players would you have back now? Interesting. I'd take Kent. I mean, I'll tell you something. I'd take that front three tonight. I really genuinely, going into this game tonight, looking at who our front three is probably going to be. I mean, I know Hamza would obviously get a place, but I think Hamza could run one of those players close, but I'd take that front three tonight. I really genuinely would take that front three against Union tonight. I think they do it, still do one hell of a job. And I mean, personally, I know it's an unpopular opinion. I'd take Ryan Kent back tomorrow at the club. I really genuinely was always a big Ryan Kent fan. In terms of Union, how they are currently doing domestically, they sit third. They had a bit of a bad start to the season, but have had a bit of a revival of late. I mean, they've drawn an awful lot of games this year. As you can see, 10 draws this season. I think that's what's put them in that position, 11 points behind leaders Genk. Genk lead the Belgian Pro League on 51, Club Brugge second on 48, Union Saint Gilloise on third on 40, then it's Anderlecht on 39, Antwerp on 37, and Standard on 34. That's the team we got Nicholas Raskan from. Looking at their results in the Europa League, mixed set of results for Union. They lost 2-1 to Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce. Away from home, they drew 0-0 with Bodo Glimt at home. They lost 1-0 to Midtjylland. Away, they drew 1-1 at home to Roma, who are a decent side. They won 1-0 away at Twente. Sam Lammers Twente. They beat Nice 2-1 at home, and their last game at home against Braga, they won 2-1. Although they did have 2 players sent off in that game. Both of those players will miss tonight's game. In total, there were 4 players sent off in that game. The referee that day, yes, you guessed it, it was Nick Walsh. So maybe he's not that bad after all. He did get 2 of their players sent off, which means they missed tonight's game. Actually, no, yes, he is that bad. Who am I kidding? Nick Walsh is awful. But you look at their record, in the Europa League. It's not fabulous, is it? It's not great. Their away record, they've drawn, they've lost 2, they've won 1 away from home. So their record away from home is not fantastic. They've scored 7 goals this season in the Europa League, conceded 6. Again, not fantastic. Like I said, they did start the season somewhat badly and have kind of enjoyed a bit of a rebirth recently. So I mean that's got to be positive. That's got to be positive for them. I think. I mean, referencing their season in terms of how they've done this season, they've established themselves as a force in Belgium, having previously not been one. Obviously, I think traditionally it was Genk, it was Bruges, it was Anderlecht, Standard, etc., who were the big forces in Belgian football. But Union, I think they've got something to do with Tony Bloom. I think he owns them. Have established themselves as a bit of a force in Belgian football now. They are, one of the top teams out there. They finished third, and they finished third once. They finished as runners-up once. They have also, claimed the Belgian Cup, which is their first trophy in 90 years. At the start of the season, like I said, it was all very bad for them. They did not do well at all. But from the end of October, they really started to pick up and have had just 1 cup defeat in 18 games since October. So they've certainly improved and they look better, don't they? They certainly do look better than they had previously. So that's a bit of a bad sign for Rangers that they have improved. Were we facing this team pre-October, we'd certainly have more, more opportunity. In terms of their players, they are without Sofiane Boufal and Alessio Castro Montes. And also the fantastically named Promise David. Those players are injured and not in their European squad. They are going to be without defenders Christian Burgess and Koki Machida, who were both sent off by Nick Walsh in the previous game. But they do have Kevin McAllister, no, not the one from Home Alone, back for the game. So that's positive. That is positive that, for them. In terms of us, obviously we've got a shit ton of players missing. Absolute, just ridiculous amount of players missing. The number of players that are missing, either not in the Euro squad or injured, is just crazy bad. Václav Černý out, Kersen Weirjo out, Suter out, Sterling out, Yilmaz possibly out as well. Hadji not in the European squad, Danilo not in the European squad, and Ciala not in the European squad. Cortez, is injured again. And Rafael Fernandez also is not available. So I think it's going to be a case of, turn up at Ibrox tomorrow with your boots. You never know, you might get on the bench. But I think you're going to see a lot of young players on the bench, which is positive, which is positive at the end of the day. it's not realistically what we want or need going into this absolutely crucial game. It is a massive game that we need to get a positive result in. And with a number of players missing, you're going to see a very much, I think, a kind of patchwork Rangers team that go out there tonight. I don't even want to try and guess the lineup. I think, it is going to be very, very hard to pick. Philippe Clement did talk about Union. He said it's a tough team to beat. It's a very physical team. They always play on the front foot. They play always with two strikers and one very creative guy in behind. They actually play with a diamond in midfield. They have two wing backs who are very offensive. They're fast in the transitions, really good at set pieces. They're direct, and they can also keep the ball really well. I mean, look, the positive is of this game tonight is if they come with the intention of playing, come with the intention of having a go at us, then that's going to stand us in. We've always had that situation in Europe where teams that have come, that have had a go, that have tried to play us, we've done better against them, than we have certainly in Scotland, where, you get teams that sit in, teams that just want to come and spoil the game as much as possible. So certainly, I think that will certainly suit us. And again, our European record is decent. However, like I said, we are missing so many players, just an absolute inordinate amount of players. And like I said, picking a team is going to be exceptionally hard for tonight's game. It really is. As I said, I don't really want to try and even pick this team for tomorrow night. It really is absolutely crazy. Philippe Clement did say his presser yesterday, he said some guys were back in training and some were doing individual work. I don't want to give this info away ahead of of a decisive game even. So, he's keeping it very close to his chest. He did say we will go for 3 points and we'll always aim to score as many goals as possible, but we are up against a very strong team. The fans will play a massive part as always. I've had several amazing evenings at Ibrox. It's something people talk about. The fans play a massive part. I think this team is going to be a hell of a test to name. It really is. I think Dessers will start. I think Hamza will start. I think Bayrami will start. I think Dio is available and will start. Raskin will start. Barron, I think, may start. That's your midfield and your attack. As for the defense, it's going to be what the hell have we got? I mean, literally, what is available? There's no Nsiala. There's possibly no Ridvan. Hiefte will be fit. Tavi's fit. Proper's fit. But other than that, we really are struggling for numbers. So, at the end of the day, where do we go with the defense? I think you've got to hope that somebody is back that we don't expect him back. How is he? How is Leon Balogun? Is he fit? Is he able to play? Can he be pressed into service? The defensive crisis is genuinely awful at the club at the moment. I mean, tonight's game, you really do look at and think, who the hell plays in defense? And I think, like I said, if you turn up with your boots and you can defend, you may get a game tonight. You really might. Or do we stick to two goalkeepers in and say, well, we'll have two in defence or three in defence. We'll have Proper, Tav, and we'll have Hiefte, and we can have two goalkeepers instead. I'm joking, but you know what I mean. It's that bad. It's that bad. Perhaps Liam Kelly can play centre half. Perhaps Tav plays centre half. He was actually quite good there the other day. I mean, that depends if Ridvan's fit. Adam Devine's still at the club. Does he come in just because there's no one else? Dujon Sterling's obviously still out. It's a real kind of confusing situation, and obviously with Robbie Fraser gone on loan now to Livingston, not having him, that's a big miss as well. Is there someone in the youth team that can come in and break through? Does Leon King start? I mean, that is a very real possibility that maybe Leon King starts alongside Robin Proper tonight, because literally there is nobody else to put in there. It's going to be a tough game, tougher than it should be. I mean, I genuinely believe, had we had our strongest 11, had everyone been available and fit and able to be selected, then this game tonight doesn't become such a big test. I truly believe that we play our strongest 11 in Europe, which I would put as Butland, Sterling, Suter, Balogun, Hiefte, Raskin, Dio, Hadji, Hamza, Danilo, and Chairi. That team wins easily against this team. But we haven't got that. We've got 11 players missing, players not available. It's crazy. Guys, predictions for tonight. I'm still going to go for a win. 2-1 Rangers. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be a lot of goals in it. So 2-1, which obviously will help us qualify. Loads of possibilities tonight, obviously. Loads of possibilities, loads of different games tonight. You look at the league table going into the game tonight, and it's still very much all to play for. In terms of the actual table itself. I mean, if you look at the team in 8th place, which is FCSB, I mean, how the bloody hell they ended up there, God only knows, with how bad they were against us. Whereas, we are currently down in 13th on 11 points. So theoretically, we could still move against FCSB if we win and the teams above us don't win. But you look at it, Lazio top on 19, they're safe. Eintracht Frankfurt on 16 second, Athletic Club on 16 third, Man United on 15 fourth, Lyon on 5th on 14, Tottenham 6th on 14, Anderlecht 7th on 14, FCSB 8th on 14, Gala 9th on 13, Bodo Glimt 13, well done to Kjetil Knutsen again, should have been Rangers manager, Plitzen 11th on 12, Olympiakos 12th on 12, Rangers 13th on 11, Alkmaar 14th on 11, Union 15th on 11, Ajax 16th on 10, PAOK on 10 in 17th, Sociedad 10 and 18, Midtjylland 19th on 10, Elfsborg, which I think is a brilliant name for a team full of elves, 10th on 20, Roma 21st on 9, Ferencváros 22nd with 9, Fenerbahce 23rd with 9, Besiktas 24th with 9, Porto could still qualify there on 8 points, as can 20 on 7, as can Braga on 7. The other teams realistically are a little bit out of it. So, still all to play for and some big games in the competition tonight. So there's 20 Besiktas, there's Sociedad PAOK, FCSB Man United. So, realistically, FCSB, you're expecting to lose tonight to Manchester United. Bodo Glimt Nice, Olympiakos Karabag, Kiev RFS, which I think is that a furniture store? Tottenham Elfsborg. So the Elves go to Tottenham, Midtjylland versus Fenerbahce, Tel Aviv versus Porto, Prague versus Malmo, Roma versus Frankfurt. I mean, that's a massive game for Roma. Ajax versus Gala. So, perhaps, Ajax will be pushing it at home. They expect them to get the win. Gala then don't obviously get the points. Lyon Ludogorets, Athletic Club Plitzen. Again, Plitzen likely to lose at Athletic Club. Anderlecht Hoffenheim, Braga Lazio, our game obviously, and Ferencváros Alkmaar. I mean, so realistically, we've still got opportunity to get even higher. Staying in that second, obviously the other positive as well of finishing higher in the places from 9th downwards is that you get a seed, so you get that your home tie second, which is a major in those knockout playoffs, which is a major bonus, of course. I'm sure everything will become a lot clearer after the game tonight. We'll obviously be I'll put a video out tonight explaining who we could play, etc., who we could play, and what happens next after the game tonight. Obviously, join us for the watch along as well. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, on the way out, if you can do me a few favors: 1, smash the like; 2, sub; 3, comment; 4, share. Brilliant, thanks. And on the way out, please remember, never forget, we are the people.